Hey y'all. So today we are focused on determining themes. I can identify themes in Summer of the Mariposas. So of course we're going to make sure that we review and understand what theme is. So a theme is the messages or the main ideas relevant to the real world that the author wants the reader to take away from reading a literary text. Now, authors develop themes with pieces of evidence that support the theme called key details. And often the author reveals a message through key details, such as represented ideas, concepts, a conflict, or a change a character experiences and learns from, or advice offered by wise characters in the text. And so obviously, sometimes we think things are themes, but they're not. So let's review really quickly what's an example and what's a non-example. So La Llorona is a scary monster versus appearances can be deceiving. So both of them talk about looks, but appearances can be deceiving, can be applied to real world issues, right? You can meet somebody and they can look wonderful and they can be a really mean person. Or you can meet somebody and they can look a little different, and you know that appearances can be deceiving, and so you treat them with respect, right? Appearances can be deceiving is the theme because even though both talks about looks, the example is actually something that you can apply to the real world. You can take it from the book, from the story, and apply it directly onto your life. So pride and anger can lead to destruction and pain is also an example of something you can take directly from the book and you can apply it to your life. However, the oldest child is responsible for younger siblings. That's not a message that you can take away from something. Odelia tells her sisters not to take the dead body to Mexico. That's even more specific. That's not something that you can apply to your real life. That is not a real world message that you can take away. You might not encounter a dead body or know someone named Odelia, right? And so go ahead and we're going to practice this using ideas from what we've read so far in Summer of the Mariposas. Make a copy of the anchor chart and scroll down to the graphic organizer so we can practice together, and then you can practice on your own or with a small group. I'm going to do the same, so I'm gonna click here and go. This is what your anchor chart should look like, and it's going to have the same kind of things that we just reviewed. Just in case you forget, that's totally fine. And now you're going to scroll down and you are going to have a graphic organizer. That graphic organizer has 3 different parts. The first one for us is in yellow. What is a repeated idea, a conflict, or a piece of advice that is central to the story? In green, what is the message about the real world that the author is showing? And then in blue, we have what evidence in the text supports the theme. Now, guys, please keep in mind that evidence is something that comes directly from the text, which means a page numbers work the best for that. So let's say you're given the theme. Being pure and kind, or I'm sorry, kind and pure of heart can help us be successful. So that means when you're nice or when you do good things happen to you, which means the opposite. When you do something wrong, bad things happen to you as well, right? Now, advice is one of our things in yellow. We're going to go here first because the theme was given to us. So when you think about advice, that's the first thing that comes to mind. We think about the things that it can be. Remember, At the beginning, La Llorona advised Odelia to be kind and pure of heart. And Odelia kind of thought she was going a bit crazy when she first met her, right? And so she didn't give that message to her sisters. And so later on in the story, they taunted or was mean to Cecilia. Even though Cecilia wasn't the nicest to them, she did try to keep them trapped, right? But they taunted her even after they escaped. As a result, they were cursed. And so they weren't kind, and something bad happened to them. This whole thing, I don't know if it could have been avoided because this is their journey, but it kind of started once they taunted Cecilia, and she's like, I am going to get you back. So the easiest way to look for key details is to go back and find examples of these events, these ideas, this advice. You're going to find examples, and then that is what you're going to write for key details. So basically what was said, or what Odelia said or thought was, what Cecilia said was, you have angered the witch, and now you must pay for your transgressions. Now that happened on page 63 of the book, because remember, page numbers matter with evidence. Even if you're doing the best you can, direct evidence is always wonderful to have. Now, later, Odelia reflects on their journey and she says, if only I'd warned my sisters of La Llorona's caution to be humble and good, we wouldn't be in this mess. And that happens on page 164 of the text. Now, your detail could have been the exact moment that La Llorona told her this evidence. It could have been that exact moment where Cecilia cursed the girls, or where she was taunted. It doesn't have to be what I have, but for your anchor chart, you should have the theme, the events, and direct evidence. And you could go any way with this. If you were given the key details and a set of themes, you would just see which one best matches. If you were given the events and had to pick details, you could do the same thing. What you have to do is make sure that they all connect to each other. They all have to make sense. Advice is be kind and pure of heart. When they weren't, they were cursed. That was the advice, and that was an event. So obviously, being kind and pure of heart can help you. Everything just kind of goes hand in hand. And so what you guys are going to do is work either individually or in a small group, whatever your teacher tells you, and you are going to figure this out again. I am going to give you the theme of appearances can be deceiving. I spelled that so wrong, guys. Sorry. Appearances can be deceiving. Or if you want to think of it as things are not always what they see. Now, what I want for you to do is remember, go back first to this box and look at conflicts or advice or events that happen that support the theme. And then once you find those events, go back into your book and get direct evidence. That means take something directly from the text and pull that page number as well when you write it down. Once you are done, your teacher will review your answers with you and they will give you further directions. I hope this was helpful and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.